Greetings, kindred friend. Take a moment to pause, gently close your eyelids, and imagine that your body right now is not a physical machine gradually wearing down over time, but actually a sacred temple silently sheltering your spiritual essence. That temple is inherently resilient, profound, and has possessed an unrivaled power of self-healing since the very beginning. You are not broken. You are not weakening. Your body is merely waiting patiently for a reconnection from your own soul. Regrettably, living amidst the frantic pace and turbulence of a foreign land, we have unintentionally forced that temple to endure too much noise. Chronic stress, secret anxieties about the future, and the constant stimulation of the world have kept your nervous system in a state of red alert. Unintentionally, we have stripped away the most precious space for the body to perform its divine function of recovery. For thousands of years, Buddhist wisdom has reminded us of a liberating truth. Your body will automatically perform the miracle of healing the very moment you stop interrupting its natural process. Etch this affirmation into your heart to soothe your being. Your body is not weak. It is simply overloaded. In the silent space of tonight, I want to hand back to you 12 golden rules from ancient wisdom to reactivate the flow of life essence, restore energy, and bring the temple of the body back to its most radiant state of balance. Let us leisurely cross the first bridge, the foundation, where all revival begins. Rule 1. Breathe consciously. The first bridge of revival. Let your attention rest gently on a tiny detail that contains a whole sky of vitality right now, your own breath. There is a silent paradox we often ignore. Most of us breathe as if we are frantically running away from something. The breath is often shallow, short, and hurried even when we are sitting still in a quiet living room abroad. From a neuroscience perspective, shallow and rapid breathing is a false command sent to the brain that danger is lurking. Immediately, your nervous system is locked in a state of high alert, causing the body to remain tense and the life essence to be eroded. But in Buddhist wisdom, breath is not just gas exchange. It is the most sacred bridge connecting body and mind. When you master your breath, you hold the key to recalibrating your entire living system. I invite you to imagine each deep inhalation is a flow of pure life essence weaving through every alveolus, carrying healing energy to nourish every weary neuron. And as you exhale very slowly, imagine you are gently shedding the dusty layer of worries, letting all long-held tension melt completely into the void. I want to give you a subtle exercise for every morning. Immediately upon waking, dedicate 10 sacred breaths. Sit still. Back straight like an ancient mountain. Breathe in deeply so the abdomen expands like a flower, greeting the sun, and breathe out slowly so the heart becomes as light as clouds. Etch this affirmation to soothe the mind. The breath is the first miraculous medicine that nature has bestowed upon your healing journey. When the rhythm of breathing becomes leisurely, the temple of your body will naturally find its way back to original stability. Rule 2. Calibrating the nervous system rhythm, when slowness is a grace. Try to look silently out your backyard window and contemplate the rhythm of all things. You will see a branch growing in silence, a stream drifting lazily to the rhythm of heaven and earth. Nothing in nature hurries, yet everything is completed perfectly. Kindred friend, our silent tragedy while living in a country that glorifies speed is that we unintentionally turn our lives into an endless chase. We hurry through every meal, hurry in our speech, and rush even in our steps to the mailbox every day. Do you know that in the language of the brain, hurry means danger is lurking? When you rush, the brain issues a red alert command, putting your entire system into survival mode. In this state, your body prioritizes energy for dealing with imaginary threats and immediately closes the door to recovery. The body will never perform repair work if it believes you are being hunted by a wild beast. Look at the image of Zen masters walking leisurely through the great forests. They move slowly, not because they are weak or sluggish, but because they understand a sacred secret. Healing only sprouts in an atmosphere of stability. I invite you to practice a powerful art of transformation. Starting today, actively slow down every rhythm in your daily life. Practice chewing the silence in each slow meal. Let every word you speak be covered in leisure, and walk as if you are kissing the earth with the soles of your feet. When you move slower, you are directly soothing the nervous system, whispering to every cell, "The war is over. The danger has passed. Now we are safe to recover." Etch this truth as your guiding star. A hurried body absolutely cannot heal. Tonight, allow yourself to shed the armor of haste, letting your being rest in its inherent rhythm of peace. Rule 3. Respecting sleep. When darkness is a healing blanket. Contemplate the eternal rhythm of the universe. After a long day of the sun shining brightly, darkness gently falls so that all things can recover their vitality and return to original silence. Your body is also an inseparable part of that great nature. In Buddhist wisdom, sleep is not merely a physiological need, but a supreme act of letting go. It is when we courageously shed every role and every burden of responsibility abroad to be a pure being under the protection of silence. Under the lens of science, sleep is the most sacred general cleaning occurring at the cellular level. Only when you fall into deep sleep does the brain begin its mechanism of filtering the clear from the turbid, sweeping away toxins accumulated in neurons after a long day of worry. This is the golden time for weary cells to be nourished with life essence, and for your nervous system to execute a complete reorder command. If you deprive yourself of sleep, you are directly blocking the only chance for the body to operate its miracle of recovery. I invite you to begin respecting sleep as a sacred ritual. Try to go to bed earlier and, most importantly, keep the phone out of reach at least 1 hour before closing your eyes. Do not let the blue light and virtual disturbances out there steal your right to be reborn each night. Etch this affirmation into your heart. Sleep is the sacred moment when your body silently repairs and revives itself. Tonight, please do not bring any problems into your dreams. Entrust all worries to the protection of the darkness, so that when you wake tomorrow morning, you find yourself a new green sprout, radiant and full of peace in the heart of life. Rule 4. Purifying the source of nourishment. When a meal is a therapeutic ritual. Contemplate the silent relationship between what you place on your plate every day and the inner composure of your consciousness. In Buddhist wisdom, food is not merely matter to fill the stomach, but a direct source of energy nourishing the being. Every bite you choose carries its own frequency, either the vitality of heaven and earth or the heaviness of artificial processes. Kindred friend, we live in a country where food is always abundant, but the stark truth is that much of it has lost its life force through industrial processing. When you consume empty foods full of chemicals, you are unintentionally sending signals of inflammation and instability to every cell. Conversely, pure foods from nature. Green vegetables. Original grains are the purest drops of life essence that help soothe pains and restore flexibility to the body in later years. I invite you to practice eating as a ritual, honoring your own dignity. Instead of eating in distraction before a phone screen, sit in silence, looking deeply into the food to see the sunlight, raindrops, and Mother Earth present there. Chew slowly, letting the natural sweetness melt and permeate deep into every vessel. When you eat with mindfulness and gratitude, your body will automatically know how to filter the clear from the turbid, transforming food into a spiritual elixir. Etch this truth to protect the temple of your body. Food is not just physical energy. Food is the sacred message you send to every one of your cells every day. When you choose with wisdom, you are directly creating a peaceful atmosphere for the work of healing to begin from the very roots of life. Rule 5. Mindful movement. When the body is a flow of joy, imagine the image of a willow branch by a lake. No matter how the wind blows, that branch remains supple, soft, and never breaks. It is that flexibility that helps it pass through many storm seasons without injury. Our bodies are the same. In the wisdom of mindfulness, life is actually a ceaseless flow. Where there is circulation, there is healing. Kindred friend, there is a silent habit eroding our life essence: stagnation. In later years, when legs begin to slow and aches visit more frequently, we often tend to fear movement. We mistakenly believe that lying still is the best way to protect ourselves. However, excessive stillness causes stress to accumulate, making the internal energy flow stagnant and heavy. The Buddha taught that walking is also a form of deep meditation, known as walking meditation. I invite you to perform soothing movements every day. No need for high-intensity exercises that exhaust you. Simply perform gentle stretching movements, like a branch reaching out to greet the morning sun. Walk in your room or your backyard very slowly, very leisurely. Feel the sacred contact of the soles of your feet with the earth, feeling the weight of your body supported by the tolerant Mother Earth. When you move in silence and attention, you are directly releasing energy knots in weary muscle fibers. Etch this truth for refuge. Every small movement in mindfulness is a powerful signal telling the nervous system, right now, you are truly safe. It is that sense of safety that will serve as the spark to restart the power of self-recovery, returning your body to its inherent state of flexibility and grace. Rule 6. Nourishing silence. When stillness is medicine for the soul. Kindred friend, try to stop for a moment to truly listen to the atmosphere surrounding you right now. We live in an age where silence seems to have become a luxury, from the constant ringing of phones and the rush of news on screens to the white noise of frantic urban life abroad. Do you realize that these unceasing noises are silently draining your precious life force, hour by hour? Our nervous system is like a musical instrument. If the strings are plucked continuously without a rest, it will gradually become weary and lose its original clear sound. When you take in too much external stimulation, the brain is always in an overheated state, unintentionally closing the door to deep recovery. Aches or fatigue are sometimes just the body's cry for help when it has exceeded its threshold for enduring noise. In the wisdom of Zen masters, silence is not a soulless void. It is the most sacred, nourishing state for the being. I invite you to dedicate exactly 10 minutes every day to noble silence. Turn off all electronic devices, find a peaceful corner, and simply sit still. Do not try to think about anything grand, nor effortfully chase away worries. Simply allow yourself to rely completely on the absolute stillness of the space. Etch this truth into your heart to soothe the mind. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is the cleanest soil where the work of true healing begins. Those 10 minutes are when you return sovereignty to your soul, letting life essence be revived in the absence of disturbance. When your lips close, the door of wisdom and recovery truly begins to shine from within. Rule 7. Releasing emotions. When the heart is light, the body endures. Try to be still and listen to the silent voice from the aching areas of your body right now. Have you ever wondered why your shoulders are so heavy despite carrying no physical weight? Why the chest sometimes feels tight, or the abdomen frequently churns in the quiet nights abroad? The Buddha's wisdom points to a shocking truth we often ignore. Body and mind are not separate. Undigested emotions, from the grief of loss and late regrets to the silent resentments accumulated over decades of wandering, do not disappear with time. Instead, they silently hide, freezing in every muscle fiber, every vessel, and every cell of yours. In Buddhism, these are suppressed aggregates. If not transformed, they crystallize into physical ailments. Etch the sharpest truth of this healing journey into your heart to awaken. What you do not courageously release from your soul, eventually, your body will have to carry for you throughout your life. I invite you to practice a ritual of filtering the clear from the turbid for your heart every night before closing your eyes. Sit in silence, hold a pen and a piece of white paper, and gently write down everything that is making your heart ripple. Do not judge right or wrong, nor try to fix it. Just let the pains and sufferings flow out through the pen. Afterward, sit in a meditative posture, bringing your gentle breath to nourish and embrace the area of the body that feels most tense. Silently tell yourself, I see this pain now. I allow it to be present. And now, I allow it to leave. When you courageously face and open your spiritual palm, you are performing the greatest act of compassion for yourself. An empty heart will create a light body, returning to you a pure being and radiant life essence as it was in the beginning. Rule 8. Returning to nature. The original bridge to recovery. Kindred friend, have you ever wondered why, standing before a silent forest or a still lake abroad, all the heavy burdens of worry suddenly become light? That is not just a fleeting emotion, but the joyful cry of the soul returning to its most miraculous source. Most of us today live in artificial cages of concrete, electric light, and the dry air of air conditioning. Unintentionally, we have severed the link with the heartbeat of heaven and earth. When you move away from nature, your body gradually forgets the rhythm of growth and decay in a leisurely way, replaced by chronic rigidity and fatigue of a machine that has lost its anchor. The Buddha taught that all things are interbeing. We and nature are not separate. Your body is actually a small universe, relying on the large universe out there. I invite you to perform a Touch the Earth ritual every day. Just 15 minutes of leisurely walking in a park near home, or simply sitting still on the porch, watching the changing colors of the leaves in the backyard. Let the cool breeze marinate your skin. Let the scent of plants soothe your sense of smell. And let the pure green wash away the fatigue in your eyes. When you immerse yourself in green space, your nervous system immediately receives a supreme signal of peace. Neuronal disturbances will settle, the stress hormone cortisol will drop, and the survival instinct will make way for the healing instinct. Etch this profound truth into your heart. Nature is not just external scenery. Nature is the greatest physician, silently reminding your body every day how to return to the original rhythm of healing. Do not let your life essence wither within four closed walls. Step outside to be embraced by heaven and earth, for nature is always there, patiently waiting to soothe you in absolute tolerance. Rule 9. Protecting energy sovereignty. Establishing a fortress of safety. Have you ever wondered why, even though you have made efforts to breathe and prioritize sleep, your heart still feels a vague instability? Like a room cleaned thoroughly, yet dust from outside constantly blows in through the cracks of the doors. Kindred friend, contemplate a powerful image. Your soul is actually a sacred kingdom, and you are the master with supreme power in deciding who and what is permitted to pass through the city gates. Yet, living abroad with the rapid pace of information, we often unintentionally leave the gates wide open. We let streams of negative news, useless arguments on social media, or toxic energy from tense relationships flood in, occupying and muddying our internal atmosphere. Under Buddhist wisdom, This is the lack of guarding the senses. You need to understand a profound biological law. Your nervous system cannot distinguish between real threats and negative noise from a phone screen. Every time you're exposed to criticism, gossip, or fear-inducing information, the brain immediately switches off recovery mode to turn on alert mode. At that point, the work of healing is immediately stalled because the body cannot patch up cells while also having to watch out for enemies. I invite you to practice sacred autonomy starting today. Become a diligent gatekeeper for your energy. Courageously turn off unnecessary notifications, move away from groups full of judgment, and limit contact with people who only bring you exhaustion. This is not selfishness or coldness. This is the highest compassion for your own revival journey. Etch this affirmation into your heart. The temple of your body will perform the miracle of healing many times faster the moment it feels completely safe and protected from the disturbances of the world. When you create a clean environment, life essence will automatically flood back, returning you to your most pure and steady state. Rule 10. Nourishing gratitude, the miracle of internal transformation. Imagine your mind like a house in the middle of a freezing winter abroad. For so long, have you unintentionally let the cold winds of complaining, worries about what is lost, or regrets about golden days blow through the open cracks? When you focus on pain, on old age, or on incomplete things, you are unintentionally creating a toxic chemical atmosphere right inside your own bloodstream. In Buddhist wisdom, gratitude is not just a social moral gesture. It is an active state of energy with the power to completely shift the vibrational frequency of the being. When you practice appreciation, your mind is no longer in the position of a lacking beggar, but becomes a master filled with abundance. Modern science has begun to decode this miracle. The very moment you generate sincere gratitude, the brain immediately performs a chemical detox. It secretes flows of happiness, hormones like oxytocin and serotonin, internal elixirs that help soothe areas of inflammation, stabilize heart rate, and strengthen the immune system for the body in later years. Gratitude is the switch from a stressed defensive state to a blooming and regenerative state. I invite you to perform a silent ritual every night before closing your eyes. Dedicate a few minutes to write down, or simply name, 3 small blessings you identified today. Do not wait for grand events. Be grateful for the warmth of a soft blanket in the cold night, the sweetness of a piece of fruit, or a peaceful breath without pain. Etch this affirmation into your heart. Gratitude is not the reward after you have been healed. Gratitude is the most sacred atmosphere that creates the environment for that healing to be permitted to occur. When you live in appreciation, every one of your cells will receive the command of love to recover most radiantly. Rule 11. Balancing life, the pinnacle of the middle way art. Kindred friend, contemplate with me the image of an ancient musical instrument. The world-honored one once taught that if the strings are pulled too tight, they will soon break, but if they are too loose, they cannot produce the original clear sound. The path of healing and longevity operates according to a profound and subtle rhythm, exactly like that. We often unintentionally stray into 2 extremes in the journey of preserving the being in later years. On one side is excessive anxiety, where we force the body into harsh disciplines, fearing every bite, counting every breath, until the mind is exhausted from craving. On the other side is resignation, where we let the life essence wither because of the misconception that old age is an inescapable fatal sentence. Both of these paths are invisible barriers blocking the self-recovery power of the body's temple. The philosophy of the middle way that the Buddha taught is not a superficial compromise, but the pinnacle of wisdom and perception. Living in balance means knowing how to exert enough effort without clinging, knowing how to rest completely without letting the life essence stagnate. When you stop forcing reality to revolve according to your wishes, you will find a still anchor right in the heart of the upheavals abroad. Etch this truth into your heart to soothe the mind. Healing does not lie in stormy efforts or resigned neglect. True healing only exists and blooms in the soil of balance. When you find this harmonious rhythm, you will realize your body has less resistance, and your soul has fewer internal frictions, returning to you a most leisurely and free essence amidst the flow of life. Rule 12. Letting go and compassion. The final reconciliation. Try to observe a clenched fist silently. Do you realize that when we grip the palm tight, every muscle fiber becomes rigid, aching, and life essence cannot circulate? But the moment you courageously loosen your fingers and open your spiritual palm, at that very moment, relaxation immediately floods back. This is the ultimate key, and also the highest rung of the healing journey, the art of letting go and compassion. Kindred friend, throughout many years of wandering in a foreign land, we often unintentionally live in a persistent civil war that few give a name to. We resent the illness we carry, we are frustrated with the slowness of age, and we judge ourselves for incomplete things in the past. We mistakenly think that being harsh with ourselves will make us stronger. But the Buddha's wisdom points out, resentment toward oneself is the sturdiest barrier blocking the flow of recovery. I invite you to perform a great act of reconciliation right now. Generate self-compassion. Gently place your hand on your chest and silently tell yourself, "May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be leisurely even amidst the low notes of life." Modern neuroscience has confirmed this secret. When you treat yourself with compassion, the brain immediately releases soothing hormone flows, diluting stress and creating a peaceful atmosphere for cellular regeneration. Letting go is not losing. It is the act of returning freedom to the soul, so it is no longer imprisoned in internal frictions. Etch the deepest truth of this conversation into your heart. True healing can only sprout the moment you courageously stop the war and cease resisting yourself. When you smile tolerantly at even the wrinkles, the pains, and the fragments, you have truly found the harbor of freedom. That is when the temple of your body is covered by the light of loving kindness, returning you to the most original whole state of human existence. Kindred friend, let our shared words now quietly settle, like golden dust particles slowly falling to the bottom of a still lake in the quiet night. We have walked together through 12 paths of wisdom, not to carry more heavy knowledge, but to untie each binding string, returning to the temple of the body, its inherent leisure. I understand that the healing journey sometimes makes you feel overwhelmed. Therefore, please do not pressure yourself to perfect everything today. Simply choose one rule that your heart resonates with. Most, a deep breath upon waking. 10 minutes of silence at the end of the day, or a meal in complete gratitude. A tiny step in sincerity is enough to awaken the lamp of life essence sleeping within you. Etch the most sacred truth, the sturdiest anchor for your soul from now on. Your body, though it has experienced many years of hardship, has not for a single second stopped its effort to heal itself for you. Your body has never stopped trying to heal you. Tonight, let that faith soothe you into deep sleep. You are not alone, for the sacred life essence of the universe is always pulsing in every one of your vessels. If this conversation brought you even a little light, I invite you to share the lesson you liked best in the comments. Wishing you a life of leisure, a body always at peace, and a mind always in joy. Thank you for your trust and companionship. Goodbye, and see you in awakening.